The Trump administration is poised to announce its exit from the United Nations' main human rights body, the UN Human Rights Council. The announcement is due to be made by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. Now, Haley had threatened the pullout last year already, citing long-standing U.S. complaints that the Council is biased against Israel. Tuesday's announcement comes a day after the UN Human Rights Chief denounced the U.S. for separating migrant children from their parents. Well, let's get you more on this. I'm joined now from Washington by CGTN's Daniel Reinches. Daniel, any word yet from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on this potential U.S. withdrawal?
No, but we've heard from US officials who haven't been named. This is on the cards during a rare joint press conference between Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and US Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, here in Washington at the State Department in a couple of hours' time. So, you know, this comes, as you were saying, in the context of a situation where the UN Human Rights Chief has roundly criticized the United States for its policy, its recent policy of deciding to separate children and their parents who've been detained at the US border with Mexico, with the UN human rights official quoting the American Academy of Pediatrics saying that the practice was essentially child abuse.
And of course, Daniel, international countries and leaders around the world are paying attention to what the U.S. will do, that decision that we're all waiting for. But what impact might that move have on the U.S. and its influence on the international stage?
Well, the U.S. has complained of a consistent bias against Israel at this body. And indeed, Nikki Haley described it as a forum for politics, hypocrisy and evasion. So what I expect is that the Israelis will no longer have a defender in this particular human rights body. That means that it's likely that we'll see more statements made by this body. During the time when President Obama decided in 2009 to join the human rights body, to send signals to the rest of the world of America's intention to be multilateral on this issue, the number of issues that were raised by against Israel declined. It may well go up once again. Secondly, I think that the Trump administration will then pursue its own human rights agenda even more closely, including, for example, its recent decision to put out statements to banks and countries going after individual leaders and politically exposed people with large financial interests abroad, that they would be willing to sanction them if they had evidence of human rights abuses or corruption, that kind of thing. So I think we'll see an America that's more willing to act bilaterally on these issues, but certainly one that will take a hit internationally and erode America's reputation as a beacon of human rights based on its withdrawal.
And that certainly seems like a risk the U.S. is willing to take. Thanks so much, Daniel Reinches, live for us there in Washington. And as he says, an announcement is due in the next few hours.